Big hair, big makeup and big performances. Kiss is one of the world's most enduring bands. They've churned out 37 albums over 36 years and have sold 100 million albums around the world. Their fame spurred by over-the-top live shows that span the globe and appeal to generation after generation. They play for the fans and for causes. Amongst them, America's wounded warriors.
When these brave men and women come home with either broken bodies or broken spirits, somebody has to look after them.
And rather than easing up after so many years, this glam rock band is getting ready to go back into the studio. So, is the new album going to be more of the Kiss we know and love, or something a little different? I asked frontman Paul Stanley that very question.
If it's not broken, you don't fix it, you know. We've been doing the same thing for about 35 years now. At one point or another, we may have gotten off at the wrong exit, but we're firmly rooted on the right highway right now, and the next album will be much like Sonic Boom, which came out probably about 2 years ago and we toured the world on. So millions of people saw that tour and loved the music, and we'll be doing quite the same again.
Are there any tours in the pipeline?
We really won't tour probably until September, October, when we have the new album out, and at that point we'll go out and search and destroy, which is what we do.
Madeline Hassan is a 13-year-old fan of yours, and she asked the question that many of our viewers want to know: will you ever do a second reunion tour with the original members of Kiss?
I think one was enough. You know, when we did it for the right reasons, and it was interesting because the word that comes up is closure. That's a big word. You know, you get a chance to go back and revisit relationships and see if they've changed at all, and for the most part, sadly, you find that they remain as they were. We had a good time that kind of deteriorated over time, and you know, when we did the farewell tour, I realized that I didn't want to say farewell to Kiss. I wanted to say farewell to two of the members. So it's been quite a while and a huge success without them. Kiss is iconic at this point, and those characters are much bigger than any of the people behind them, thankfully. Richard
Jones comments on the enduring appeal of Kiss and basically asks, what is the secret of being a great front man?
Well, I hope it has something to do with, you know, many people are hams. I'm the whole pig. I love being on stage. I'm somewhere between an evangelical preacher, a musician, a superhero, and a game show host. So I'm out there to entertain. I think you can never lose sight of the fact that first and foremost, when you're doing a live show, you're an entertainer. People are coming to see you. If they wanted to just hear you, they'd be staying home.
You're a man of the canvas as well. What do you prefer, painting or doing the stage stuff?
I think they're both incredible. I think that anytime you get to express yourself, you're blessed. I tend to define myself by the challenges I take on and how well I do with them. I started painting because I needed another outlet for self-expression, and the only rule that I made for myself was that there would be no rules. And for me, the excitement of painting is that, for me, there's no boundaries. The edge of the canvas is the only limitation. I've been incredibly successful, far beyond anything I could have ever expected. I think sales are somewhere over $2.5 million.
Eben asks, is there any stone left unturned in your life, either personally or professionally? Anything that you are yet to accomplish?
It's a great question. For me, every time I climb a mountain, I seem to find a mountain next to it I want to climb. So at this point, I'm very satisfied with what I've done. But if somebody would have told me I'd have a successful art career, which at this point, you know, I can't imagine life without painting, to have a band that has reached a point now where we play to millions of people every time we go on tour worldwide. I starred in Phantom of the Opera, which is, you know, again, stretching what some people see as the boundaries. I don't see boundaries. I don't see obstacles. I always say that obstacles are what you see when you lose sight of your goals. If you have goals and you pursue them, you don't let things get in the way. So is there anything I could see doing at this point that I haven't done? Probably a year from today, if you ask me, I'll have done something else, and we can talk about that.
Good answer. Sarah Mendez asks, and it's a good question, do you think that being bullied at school helped you to be the man that you are today? Well,
I think that you either learn from the things that happen to you so that you don't do them, or you repeat them. I was treated a certain way. I had a birth defect. I had what's called a microtia, which is a abnormality of the outer ear, and I'm deaf in one of my ears. So I had a certain amount of scrutiny and ridicule, and certainly it made me much more sensitive to other people. And whenever I can, whether it's speaking to parents of children with facial differences, or just basically enlightening people to the fact that really, ultimately, what's important about people is what's inside them and not what's on the outside.
Joe Deal asks, what was the best moment you've experienced while being in KISS?
Wow. There are so many. It's like saying, who's, you go to a beauty contest and who's the most beautiful woman there? They're all beautiful. So this has been an incredible ride for me, and there's so many high points. My first gold album was, a milestone for me. It's something that I wanted from the time I was literally a little boy who was watching Dick Clark's American Bandstand, and then watched the Beatles on Ed Sullivan and said, I can touch that nerve, and lo and behold, little by little, I worked towards that success. So gold album was a huge milestone for me. The first album, the first time I heard myself on the radio, when I was a cab driver, I remember in New York City driving somebody to Madison Square Garden to see Elvis Presley play, and I remember thinking to myself, one day people are going to be pulling up to Madison Square Garden to see me. I remember the first time that happened too.
Marvellous. Tim McCall's got a good question for you. He says, do you ever have to tell Gene no? And if you have, why was it?
Gene gets told no quite a bit. Probably the only place he hears no is from me, or in this band. Outside of here, he's free to run amok. But in here, the reins gets pulled. It's a great partnership. The beauty of this relationship that's lasted so long is that you understand what you can expect and what you should not. Understanding the limitations of a relationship will keep it going indefinitely.
Good stuff. Last question to you. Martin Marg has got simply this. He said, when it is all said and done and your time on Earth is over, are you going to be buried with or without your makeup?
I will be buried with a smile.